unfortunately need a little more time to resolve the technical issues that led to the repeated pauses in Game 1 between the Walking Zed and Team Coast. Well, we anticipate that we will have the issues resolved in approximately 1 hour, and we apologize for the delay and appreciate your patience. But as we continue to address the issues on stage, I want to welcome North America's 2013 All-Star Jungler and current coach of Cursed, Saintvicous, to the analyst desk. Thanks for joining us, Saint.
Hello.
Hello. Well, let me start off maybe by recapping what we saw a little while ago, the first game between Team Coast and the Walking Zed. What was your general impression of that great performance from Coast?
It was pretty embarrassing, I guess, for North America. I don't know. I mean, like, they had the early game lead, and it looked pretty good. And then, like, they had that one team fight right outside the entrance of Dragon where I guess, like, they initiated in this really weird area, and NASA was cut off to the left. And it's just, like, a really badly set up fight for them because Shyvana got in to the team, and then Edward just came in and just, like, flash ulted. And
you're talking about the XDG Gambit matchup.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
was asking about the promotion matchup, but we actually can go into this a little more. How do you think that played out overall, that match?
Oh, the Gambit one?
XG Gambit, yeah.
Oh, I don't know. It honestly looked like Gambit was just trolling after a certain point. I mean, they had, like, do I get a death cap or an hourglass on Shyvana? Like, these are hard decisions that I need to make. But I don't know. It's from what I understand, XTG's only been playing for like 4 days. They've been on break the whole time. So I think that they can be a lot better than that. And it showed like in the early game. Like they made the right decisions in the early game, and they played the laning phase pretty good. But like once it came out of that, like their team fighting looked just horrendous.
Well, then let me ask you now about the matchup between the Walking Zed and Team Coast. What do you feel about that one?
I don't know if I call that first game a match, but
wow.
I mean, nothing against
like more than DoubleLift.
Nothing against Walking Zed, but I don't know. It just looked like Coast like came to play. Like their job's on the line, and it shows. Like they're hungry, and they want to keep playing.
Do you think that there's any way the Walking Zed will come back?
Yeah. I mean, I think that like. I don't think that first game's a good indication of like what the next games are going to be like. I mean, that's a lot of their players' first game on the LAN, and I'm sure people are like really nervous. And people always said like, well, we don't know how they're going to do on LAN, or like we don't know how their LAN experience is. Like, oh, that doesn't mean anything. I mean, it actually means a lot. Like people are afraid to make certain plays that they would usually make, or like they'll miss skill shots just because of nerves. Like a lot of people don't understand that like you just need to take a deep breath and like just chill out. You know, I mean, it's just the same as like playing at your gaming house or at home.
Maybe the pause coming in, is that something that the Walking Zed will be thankful for?
I think in a weird way it helps them just because getting your nerves settled, actually getting a game against your opponents, and then saying, okay, what do we actually care about in champs? Like, what do we actually care about strategically? And it gives you time to sort of recoup your thoughts. Normally in the heat of the moment, you go from game 1 to game 2. Maybe your mind is still in the last game, and you're like frustrated, or you're still thinking about what you could have done, and you can't think in the past and win the next game. You've got to think, okay, what do we do differently? What do we change? What do we keep doing? And having some time to do that, I think, will help these guys. Whereas a team like Coast is probably a lot better at just knowing how to prep for game 2 right away.
Well, at the same time, you can shoot yourself in the foot because, like, I know from personal experience that if you have a long time between games, you might get into some stupid arguments like, oh, like that game, just for example, you could be like, oh, you guys messed up so bad in like X lane, and oh, how did you miss your skill shots? And then you just get into this back and forth banter, and then you don't like actually resolve like the real problems and like what you're going to do next time to fix those problems, and you just kind of play the blame game, which is super easy to do. Like in this high pressure situation, like emotions are running high.
Is there anything, an example that you guys sometimes know that's something I really mess up when I'm extremely nervous? Is it like CS or decision making, or what is it that it comes down to?
Smites. I mean,
yeah.
The smites.
No, I mean I haven't been nervous in so long in a game, but yeah, I definitely think it affects other people more than others, and I think skill shots are probably the biggest thing. Like I'll have scrim people, and I'm like, man, they would usually hit that like 90% of the time. And then they'll play a game, and you'll see them on LAN, and they'll just miss like every time.
You mentioned that you didn't get nervous anymore. Is that one of the reasons why you thought it's time to call it quits as a professional player?
Yeah, actually, a lot of people had that. Who said that? I can't remember. But they're like, if you're not afraid of losing anymore, and then was that Loco?
I can't remember. Yes, I think it was Loco in his vlog, maybe. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, yeah.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
He'll come back.
Crush Tart's broken, James. But no, I know. I just like honestly got tired of playing and scrimming all the time, and it burns you out. Like you're playing like 8, 10-hour days. Like you wake up, you scrim every single day, 6 to 7 days a week, and it just burns you out. I mean, I think it burned anybody out, and that's why you see a lot of like the old players. They just start enjoying the game less and less, and I think that's what happens to a lot of people.
How's it for you, DoubleLift? Because I think it was around last year once that you mentioned that you needed a break for a while to get away from it. And how do you deal with that? How do you keep that fire going?
Oh, well, last year and specifically I didn't, and that's why I didn't play as good as I should have. Like, I played really well like between the splits at All-Stars, and then I was like just okay to good for the rest of the year. And then I finally got my break. You know, after Worlds, after I did the Analyst Test thing, I got my break. And I think like even though, yeah, our LAN performances haven't been that great, I've been playing better than like ever. Like I feel like I've been playing better than I have been in the last like year or like year and a half. And it just comes because it's true when you play like 10 hours a day and there's so much pressure on you and everyone's like criticizing you and telling you how bad you are and like who's going to be better than you pretty soon. Like you just kind of, you cave into the pressure and you just like stop being as productive with your time as you could be. So like, you know, like I made a lot of changes. You know, I stopped caring what people said about me, and like I just made a lot of changes to like how I think about the game and how I'm gonna improve. So that's why I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna be way better coming into this year.
I actually have a question on that. So what drove you to this like new outlook on the game and on competing?
Well, a lot of it is like you kind of reflect. It's kind of hard to reflect on like an LCS split or like a bad month that you had, but it's way easy to kind of reflect on like your year. Like, what did you accomplish this year? And when I look on like season 3 and I look back, like, what did I accomplish? Is like, well, it's not as much as I did in season 2, that's for sure. So I want to, like, I was like, what made me so good? And like, what makes like a good player like really good is like somebody who only cares about getting better, don't care about what the community says about you. Like, I just when you get away from the game, you kind of have time to let the information sit.
And Saint, you going getting away from the game, but actually still having to call shots as you are now the coach. How has your day-to-day changed being a coach rather than being a professional player?
I mean, I watch a lot of team scrims, and I do a lot of stuff with like the analysts where we'll talk about like what needs to be focused on and what needs to be presented to them, the players, because I think that a good learning environment for the players is really important, and making as you can't just saying like you shouldn't have done that or you shouldn't have done this. It's more focused on towards what you should be doing, and like what be like you should be proactive rather than negative to people. And I think as long as the team like gets together and like they really enjoy their scrim time together and they're all happy like playing with each other, then they're just gonna grow. And I think that's like the most important thing as a coach is like that I'm just there to like help them grow and to make sure that to like ping off the ideas off of them, and yeah, just I don't know, just be positive for them.
Be positive, of course. Rather, a lot of changes in that lineup. Let us start maybe if we go through it by I Will Dominate, of course, coming in directly for you. What do you think he brings to the team that makes them play maybe differently or in other ways?
I mean, Dominate and Boy had a history. They played on Dignitas together. I guess he has like more of an aggressive play style. I don't know. Yeah, just like they just have like a really good chemistry between Boy and him, and I think that's like kind of like their play. Like that's like what I never like compare like junglers like just as individual people or like mid laners as individual people. I think you got to like look at the combo together. Like you know you got like Diamond and Alex Itch or Smithy and ManCloud, like or Bengi and Faker. I don't like Faker's not. He's like an amazing player, but he's nothing without Bengi or vice versa. Like you have to think about like the combo together. I think that's important.
Well, what do you think then? Like, because I feel like the jungler does affect like all the lanes. Is it really like every jungler plus lane matchup? Like is it jungle plus mid and jungle plus top and jungle plus duo lane, or are there tendencies? Or like do certain teams need jungle mid synergy? Certain teams need jungle top. Like what are the dynamics there?
Well, jungle mid's so important because I mean you can affect all the other lanes a lot better. Like if mid wins really hard, you can roam to top, you can roam to bottom. You have control of dragon. It's a lot easier to affect the other areas of the map just because of the position is on the map. Okay. And yeah, I think that's why it's the most important.
Final thing about the lineup is Quaz. As a lot of people have said, he's an incredible talent in that top lane. How have you experienced working with him for the short while?
Quaz is a very reserved person, but I honestly think he's a beast. I'll go as far as to say I think he's the best top in NA right now.
Okay.
I mean, it's like a bold statement, but I think the people see tomorrow that he's going to back that up.
DoubleLift, does this new curse lineup scare you?
Yeah, mostly just Quas. He does a lot of stuff that no other top lane does, and I don't want to like give it away right now because that'd be super BM. But he's really smart. Like he's just super smart about the game, and mechanically he's you know, he doesn't miss CS either, which is really rare. Like top laners attract like a kind of different demographic of people. Like when I think of top laners, I think of like Darien, like the kind of like Rambo, like, you know, he doesn't care. Like somebody who just doesn't care, and they go crazy. It's not like such a calculated, methodical player like Quas, who I don't know. To me, he calculates like every decision he's going to make in advance because he's just really smart about the game.
And I actually really like the new Cursed lineup. I think it's cool because it's kind of like the Cursed lineup from the beginning of 2013, where it was like Voyboy's the best top laner in NA, and he's going to dumpster everybody, and Voy's going to make all, and it's awesome, and it was a really cool style. Whereas you've got CLG, where they win from the bottom lane all the time. You've got teams like SKT, T1K, they have a really long name, and Faker is like the guy who makes all the plays, and that's really interesting. And you had SKT T1S that was all about Marin in the top lane there, and I like the teams that are like, well, you know, Quas is like the really huge carry here. He's going to go crazy. If he gets going, even if he doesn't get going, he's going to find a way to get going, and a lot of things come from him. So I like the new dynamics that come from the team.
Yeah, that's going to be very interesting to watch. And Saint, I know you have some very strong opinions on this, so I'm just going to tap into it as we have the Battle of the Atlantic. You were talking before also about the XDG Gambit matchup, and just in general, how do you think things are going? What has surprised you or hasn't surprised you at all?
I mean, honestly, like most of the matches have gone. I didn't think the CLG match would have been so one-sided, to be honest. I honestly thought that could have gone either way. I thought it was like 50-50, but then, yeah. Sorry, DoubleLift.
That was bad, dude. That was sad. But not really. It's
no,
whatever.
I don't know. It's just funny the whole Battle of the Atlantic thing because it's like a fight for the bronze medal. It's like, oh well, we're never gonna be as good as those Koreans, but it's like we want bragging rights over each other, you know.
Well, actually, what I like about the matches we've seen both last weekend and this weekend is every single match a European has won. And now that we've got a match with no Europeans, of course the game is stopped.
Oh my
European can't win, so we can't play.
DoubleLift, is there anything you want to add to that? Do you feel like you're playing for second place all the time?
I don't know. It's a start. Like I like that there's competitiveness between the regions because when one region is better than the other, it just makes the other one stronger. And then when that one gets stronger, it makes the other one stronger. So they like help each other. So like, you know, when you saw C9 play against Fnatic, then I think that sparked like a really sharp increase in like the skill of the like both scenes. Because you saw like both the best teams from these regions playing against each other. You saw like, wow, this works and wow, these guys are like pretty equally matched at Worlds. And like it just kind of inspires better players to come up. And you saw that, like, there's so many roster changes for Season 4, and, like, everyone's so much better now, in my opinion. And I hope you can see that change come in for next year at Worlds.
What a beautiful message and things here. Thank you very much, guys. And now I think we're ready, so we're going to send it over to Pastry.